All right. Welcome to chapter 9. Um, this is the last chapter we're going to cover in this book. We'll deal with like JavaScript and all that good stuff next semester. But chapter 9 talks about doing web forms or using web forms. So everyone has typed in their username and password and all that good stuff into a form. So right now, I'm going to show you some of the elements they use to actually make forms for a website. Right, so let's go ahead and get up the objectives of the chapter so you can know where we're heading and what we're doing. All right. So right here. So talk about how you use web forms. Then we're going to talk about the elements that we're going to use for that we use for web forms. Also going to talk a little bit about some of the accessibility issues, as well as some additional forms that they have. Now with the HTML5, they actually have come out with additional form elements that makes the form a whole lot easier to do, as well as it adds a lot of uh, interactivity or interaction between the user and the actual form itself. And also going to talk about server-side processing. Server-side. So basically, the second part allows you to type in the information to the form, but where does it actually go, and how is it actually processed? So I'll talk a little bit about that as well. Right. So let's go ahead and get started. All right. So I have. Let me bring up my template already done here. Alright, so I'm going to no waste time doing it. So the first thing you need to do, if you want, when you're making a form, you have to use the form tag. Alright. Close it out. Now the form tag is special because you have to tell inside the form tag, you have to tell the form how it's going to be processed and where it's going to be processed, or where it's going to be processed. All right. So you have to have two attributes, or two very important attributes when dealing with a web form or dealing with a form. You have to have the method, and the method is basically how it's going to the information is going to be processed. And there are two ways. You have the get method and you have the post method. The get method is they still have it, but you don't use it anymore. We use the post method, so it actually posts to the server or whatever location. So we're going to type in post, and that's also is most secure as well. That's how we use post. And then you have something called action. And action, this is where you're actually telling the web browser, this is where we're going to process the information. So it could be either you can send it through a email account, or you can send it through a website, like a server-side website. So I'm actually going to use the one your book has, and I'm going to have to go find it too. Okay, I found it. Yeah, so I copied and pasted from the book. But this is the author of the book has made a PHP basically script that allows you to actually, all it does is you type in information, and it brings back a web page with the information that you typed in. That's all it is. So let's go ahead and use that one for our action for this particular form. All right. So now we have all our attributes for our form. We have the post method, as well as we have the action method. Okay. Now, one of the first things, now we can actually start using what they call the input field, or input tag. And input tag, this is basically, it makes the text boxes. So you can actually put information into it. So what the thing we want to do is the very first thing is that we have to give it a label. So nice words that go over to the left or the right hand side of the text box, we have to actually give it. That's what they call a label for that text box. So we'll go ahead and type in the word label or type in the label tag, and in between the label tag, this is where you'll type in where you want it to be said. So let's say name. Yeah, let's say name. All right. Okay, so now we have our label name. Now we can actually type in our input, make our text box to actually so that when the person can actually type in their name. So you're going to be now the inputs, just like the image tag and so forth. It does not it does not have an ending tag on it. All right, it's just input the information and that's it. Okay, so it's input, and then you have to tell it what the type is, because there are many types of ways or different ways you can actually input information. So it goes, you can include, I think you may even have it on here. I'll show you. I was thinking they had it on the text, but it doesn't. But in your textbook, I think it's actually like a little form. I think it's on like a little table. It actually tells you some of the types you actually have. So we are going to, the type that we're going to use, we're going to call text, because you're making a text box. Oops. Alright, so, and you can also add other attributes in there, like a name, ID, so you can, so the person, or so when it does go through the processing, a person or the script would know, or the server will know that this is where this information came from. And also too, a lot of information that you have actually goes into a database, so you have to give it an ID so that it can, and it'll match up with the information in the database. So when you type in username and password, it goes to the database and it finds, okay, this is the username, this is the password. They go along with each other. Go ahead and let them into your account. Alright, so let's do name, and let's just say name, and ID, let's do 1, so we can say this because this is our first text box. Alright, you can also put information on here, the max length, so if you want only a certain amount of characters to be inside of that text box, you can do that. Max length, and you'll do it by the number of characters. So we'll say, you make this a character, let's say 15. Let's say 15 characters. Alright, what else can we put on here? Alright, also you can put placeholders in there too, so you'll know how you type in information, or before you type it in, it'll have this nice little text, the text inside the box telling you what to do or what goes there. That's what they call placeholder text, and you can put that in there as well. So little placeholder, and I can say enter name here. Alright. Alright. So now we have, our first text box. Alright. So let's actually open this up and let's see. Let's save this. And let's actually bring it up into our web browser so you can actually see our actual start of our actual phone. I cannot remember. No, that's not it. Let's call this form HTML. Alright, so I got it saved. Alright, so let me bring this, open up Chrome. Doing stuff earlier. Form, there you go. Yay! So we have our first form there. So we can actually see, okay, so we have our, you can actually go side by side on this one. Yeah, alright. Yeah, so here, ooh, you have my name already in there. So we have our text box. We we have a placeholder in there. So that's cool. And also, if we were to type this in or type something in there and hit, yeah, we'll do a submit button in a minute, and do a submit button and submit it, then we'll be able to actually it'll take us to this nice little address here and basically repeat our information that we already have. Alright, so okay, looks good. And so for our next one, since I'm already here, I'll go ahead and keep going. Alright, now let's add some more text boxes in here. Alright, so what I want to do first, I actually want to add a header on this thing. Alright, so I'm going to add an H3 tag, and I don't know, call it contact form right now. Alright. Okay, so let me actually put it down so you guys can see. Alright, so I'm just going to, since I don't want to type all it in there, actually, I'll go ahead and do it, just to show you guys some more. Alright, so let's make another label and another input text box, and let's call this email. Well, yeah, let's call this email. And so email is, I don't want to say it's new, I take it back, it is, but it's with an HTML5 attribute that allows you to make sure that the person actually puts when they text, it's actually an email address. So it looks for the @ and the whatever.com to make sure it is a valid email account. So which actually saves a lot of time because for web developers, because in order to do that, I'm gonna say back in the day, they had to actually use JavaScript or some other additional coding to actually get that validation. Now they don't have that. They don't have to go through all that extra coding to do it. You can just go ahead and use HTML and it'll do it for you. Alright, so I'm gonna go ahead and make a label, call it email. Right, and to tell it to do email, we're going to change the type from text to email, and I'll add a name on there. I'll call it email. I'm gonna add an ID on there for 2, and just put a placeholder in there, but we don't have to worry about the max length. So sometimes email address can get, very long. So I'm not going to worry about the max length. Say enter email here. There you go. And also, another thing, going back to validation, you can also they have the attribute of required. So, and required basically makes that particular field required. So if a person tries to click the submit button and that field has no text in there or no information in there, it'll stop the person from submitting it, and it'll say, go back and insert, or go back and check your form and make sure you fill everything out correctly. So, and to do that, it's very simple. Just put the word required. That's it. Yeah. All right. All right. So, and we save that. All right. So that's in there. Cool. Now we have our two here. Now let's actually go and make a submit button. You can make a submit button as well as a reset button. The submit button makes you submit the information to whatever text is going to, or the reset button just basically clears out the form and allow you to start all over again. So to do that, it's an input. Basically, it is an input tag. And but this time instead of the type being text or email, it's going to be submit. So my submit here. Did I spell it right? Now you can close. All right. Submit. All right. And if you want to, you can. You can add images to the submit button. That'd be that's fine. So you can actually make it look like a text or say text link, but a picture link or hyperlink or image hyperlink. Now, for us to make the nice submit button or the submit name pop up on the top of the button, we have to add what they call a value to it. So value equals and whatever you want, whatever text that you want on top of your submit button. So I'm going to go ahead and do submit. Alright. And as well as I can go ahead and I can do my reset button as well. This particular time, instead of my type, instead of being submit, is now reset. And for my form, for my value, I'm going to put clear form. Alright. Right, so now we got some stuff in there. Let's go back and save it. Let's see what it looks like in the browser. So we can make sure we're right on track. We must save here. Go back to my Google Chrome. Alright. Alright. Now you notice everything is all in one line. That's not a problem. We can put line breaks in there so it can actually be right below each other. That's not a problem. It's just a formatting issue. So if I go side by side again. Yeah, so if I came here and after each one of my input tags, I can put a line break. I'll do just the one. Now everything will be on a separate line. There you go. And if you want to, since it's a little close right there, you can also just put another line break in there. Did I say? Yeah. There you go. Alright, so let's check this. Let's test this out. Okay, remember, because you put required on the email. Alright, let's see if it allows us to actually submit it, or it gives us an error if we try to submit it without having the email in there. Yeah, see, even my name, because it took the Y off, because remember you told it to do just 15 letters or 15 characters, and because my name is more than 15 characters, it cut off my name. So okay, it did the job on that one. Alright, now let's say I'm going to just put in the first part of my email address, and I'm hit submit. Well, you're not supposed to. It's supposed to be required. Okay. So it's not supposed to submit it. We got that part right. Because I mean, we put required on our email. So that's when we try to, and also when we do the validating on it, it's supposed to tell us it's not since we don't have any. It's supposed to tell us that because it's not a valid email account, it's not gonna let us submit it. But see, let us submit it anyway. All right. And we said it was required. I can't believe that. All right. I'm mad it's not picking up my required. Alright. Let's try something here. Alright. Fix it all. It still took it. You're not supposed to take it. Alright. This will be my last chance. Because we have to move on. Alright. Yeah, it's not supposed to do that. I don't know why it's doing that. Oh, the clear phone works. Alright. I'll come back to that one. But yeah, it's supposed to, like I said, help with the validation, form validation. Alright. So, next thing I want to do is I want to talk about some more form elements that they have. The next one, let's see. Let's do check boxes. Yeah, let's check boxes. So, and the only thing difference in that one is that for type, how come y'all didn't tell me that was like that? That's probably the reason why. Sorry about that. Go back real quick. Sorry. There it is. See? See? One little mistake. There it is. I was like, how come it's doing that? But yeah, you actually saw it says it's not a valid email address. Okay, good. Now it's working. Alright. I can breathe easy now. Alright, so let's go to checkboxes. Like I said, with checkboxes, you just change the type, the input type, you change it to checkbox. That's it. Now the thing with this one is that you have to let's say favorite browser. Sure. See, we're messing with browsers right now. Oh my goodness. Hit web browsers. Alright. Now, after this, I'm going to go ahead and do a line break. Because now I'm going to start putting in the information for my checkboxes. So since we're talking about browsers, we may have about maybe 4 or 5 maybe. So I'm going to do input. I'm going to change my type. Make sure I spell it right. Put my equal sign. And change it to checkbox. Alright. Now we have to add actually we don't have to do that. We can actually change this, make the label checkboxes are usually on the right hand side. So we'll have to actually switch this around. I'll close that out. I'm thinking that's an H1 tag. Yeah, so I have to switch that out and move it in front. Alright, now. Yeah, so now we have a checkbox first, like it usually is, and then we have our actual label. This actually tells you what the actual text box is associated with. Alright, let me. Alright, there you go. And let's say, change that text box. Let's say Microsoft Edge. That's one of our browsers. Alright, now we can put our break right there. Let's do another insert. Chat box. Now I'm going to go back in a minute to actually tell you about some of the attributes for the checkbox. Let's go into Google Chrome. That's another one. Firefox. You can't forget Firefox. And let's do Opera. Like, what the hell is Opera? Yeah. Alright. So that's about 4. Alright, now going back to some of the attributes you can actually add for checkboxes. Is that, sometimes you can have a checkbox that's in like a group. Well, you can do this, the way you actually make them assigned to a group is you actually give them the same name. Or, actually, I'll take it back, the same ID name. So it'd be ID equals, and you will have, let's say call this browsers. Alright. So, and you'll add this ID to each of the checkboxes. So the browser as well as the server or wherever the information is going to knows that if this information is attached to each other. You can probably put name on there too. Name equals the name of the browser. So just like we had before, we had the name and the ID. We're going to do this. Had the same thing here with our browser, with our checkboxes. Capitalize Chrome or Google. Actually, for the name, let's see this in a minute. I think it's going to give us a error. You usually try to keep the names down to one word, but I think it's going to give us an error. We'll go to submit. Alright. I think it's going to give us an error. I really do. Alright. Let's go ahead and save it. And let's bring it up. I'll bring it side by side. There you go. And the reason why, because I didn't put the marks in there. Yep. I didn't put my... Yeah, I'm just going in and putting in line breaks. So everything can be look nice and neat. Now they used to, when they make everything nice and neat, they would actually put the forms inside of a table, just like we talked about in chapter 8. So everything will be nice and lined up and make it good together. But now the with mobile design and responsive design, like I said on chapter 8, we try not to um, add tables so they can't, so it is easier to move. All right, so let's check and see. Put my name in there. Put my address. Alright, NBD submit. It says on. Okay. So the on just says, okay, that is what the person checked. Okay. Yeah, see. So it actually so this one she actually has to put in the space or the underscores for us. So that's not too bad of a thing. Alright. Now the next one we're gonna do is we're going to do what they call radio buttons, or the little circle buttons. That's what we're gonna do on this one. So it's gonna be the exact same format that we have here. I'll actually just copy and paste what what I've been doing. I'm gonna copy and paste it, and I'm going to change the type from checkbox. I'm gonna change the ID. Oh, not ID. I think to radio. Yeah. So instead of typing in all that stuff, I'll just type in radio. I just copied it in, copied everything. Now I'm just changing everything to radio. Because it's the exact same format that you would have for a checkbox, it's just that you're now using radio buttons. And with radio buttons, you don't get the option to select more than one. You only get the option to select one of them. Alright. So, did I get all of the... Yeah, I got all of them. Just save. There you go. Now, so notice I can just click on. I'm not supposed to do that. Alright. Alright, we have to take off. We have to take out the ID then. Because I think it's associated with the ID, we'll have to take the ID off. And change the ID to, let's see, Edge, Chrome. Yeah, I'm just changing the IDs so I can actually tell what the difference is. ID. So instead of actually giving us the ability to check more than once, it only gives us the option to check one. Firefox. W Opera. Alright. So now let's see. So I saved it. Alright, now let's try to fill it back in. No. Radio. You're only allowed to submit once. What am I doing wrong? Did I say? Did I do refresh on that? I thought I did. Nope. Interesting. I guess it's because the name shouldn't. You can also too, if you want one to be checked by default, you can actually tell it to. Now I'm changing the name. The name shouldn't have to be changed this way. But you can also, like I was mentioning, if you want a particular one to be by default, saying okay, just make this the default label. You can do it as well. You just have to put uh, either put checked on there. So in one of the attributes, let's say Chrome because you like Chrome. Let's say checked inside as make that as an attribute. There it is. It's let me bring it down so it's easier for y'all to see because that goes with that. All right, that's a lot better. Yeah, let me. There it is. Yeah, so since I said checked, then when I click on when I go to reload my form, Chrome is going to be selected automatically for me. No, you hope so anyway. Alright, see, when I did my refresh, Chrome is already selected for me. And I don't know why it's giving me the ability to actually do all of them at once. Okay, four zone. Okay, yeah, I shouldn't do that. You also see it said on too. Yeah, four is on. So because I changed the name to four, so it's something that's turned on. Hmm. Okay. I have to check into that one. How come it's like I said, now it's supposed to give you the option to actually do more than have more than one. All right. Right. Next one. Yeah, one thing I actually forgot to mention was I was actually going over here on to slides. Password. You do have the password option. Yes. So when I'm gonna come down here, all right. So at the top here, right below where we have email, let's go ahead and actually put one called password. Yeah. So let's put. Let me just go ahead and copy all of this. I'm gonna copy all that. Yeah. Change that to 22. And right here, you're gonna change the type to password, and it's gonna automatically give you the little dots or little circles that we're used to when we type in the password to have the password. All right. We'll save as. All right. There you go. Now my password's right there. So if I type in password, let me type in student. Yeah, see, it's all by default. It actually gives you, it hides the password for you. Um, I'm trying to see what else I'm missing. Don't just say it's something else. Password, reset button, hidden. Yeah, so outside the hidden form or the hidden input, and this is used for if you want to capture more information. Especially this is really good, especially for a database. But you don't want the user to see. You can actually put a hidden. Uh, so you want it to be hidden so it won't have a label on there. So you say input. type would be hidden. Go back here, and you can tell it what you want it to hidden. You can actually tell it like an ID, or say name, and you can say you want it to be. Let's say hello. Yeah. So and you can whatever part in the database or whatever information you're going to capture, you can put it in there. The person would usually you'll have it the same thing up there twice. So for example, I have the name up here for what's the name? Yeah, I have name for name up here at the top. If I wanted to, I can change this to name, and what will happen is with the hidden attribute, if the database has another field that actually does with name, it'll auto instead of having the person type in the word name multiple times or the name multiple times, they'll just automatically take the name from this hidden ID here or hidden text box here, and then it will allow you to it'll capture both information at the same time. So without even the user knowing. Okay. So next one I want to talk about is the select list or the drop down box or whatever you want to call it. And it uses what they call the select tag. It has actually basically two tags. You have the selection tag or the select tag, and then inside the select tag we have what they call the option tag. And of course the options is just the option or the option that you want to show up in that particular box. I had to was doing one form, and I had to put in I think all of the states of the U.S. states, and that took a while. So let's do select. Go ahead and close up my select tag. Yeah, and in my select tag, inside of I'm going to put my options. It's actually just option tag. It's an option tag. And inside the option tag, this is where you'll put. I don't want to keep doing favorite browsers. Let's put. Since you said states, we just do states. Sure. Okay. But South Carolina. Let's say North Carolina. Let's do Georgia, since you writing it by right close. Let's see. So who else you got nearby? Who else you got nearby? This. Tennessee. Oops, option. I think I spelled it. Don't look right. I'd be shocked if I did spell it right. Okay. Alright. Alright, so now we have our select tag. So when we come here and it should be, because that's hidden, so it's not going to work. It's not going to matter. And so we do save. Alright. Okay, now I have my select box, my drop down box for which one? Which one you want? Alright, and for our select box, we can put in a name of, let's put states, and we can put option for ID, the option, let's say option name, option name equals and we can say SC name NC. So when we hit our submit button, the reason why I'm doing this, so when we hit our submit button, GA, it will give us, when we hit the submit button and that page pops up and gives us all the information that we typed in, it'll actually tell us what state we actually selected. Okay, alright. Yeah, right here, let me also put my line breaks on here. Just say, alright, yay. Yeah, whatever that is. There it goes. Yeah. Alright, so it's right there. Didn't catch my name? Did I take anything off? Alright, so it has my name, email, says I had Chrome on, and it tells me, okay, it was South Carolina that I picked up. Alright. How in the world? Where did my name go? It did not pick up my name at all. I think I have something else called name, don't I? Yeah, because that says hidden. Alright, so let me take that to, let's say hello. Alright, now my name should be back. Alright. Yes, the email's gone now. What? Interesting. Control my email too. Interesting. Alright. Because it was there before, wasn't it? It was there before. Alright. Fine. Okay. Now, so we have the select box. Trying to think of what else you need to do. Right. So the next thing I want to talk about is I want to talk about field sets and legends. And basically what it does is it just gives your form a little bit of separation. So here, I was a little jumbled up here, but we'll be able to, with a field set, we can actually break it down into sections, and it also makes the form look nicer. So, excuse me. So, what we're going to do here, we're going to put a field set. We can put the field set. Let's do it around our radio buttons, and our, let's put it around our check boxes, our radio buttons, and also our drop down box. All right. So this the field set tag or element is basically made up of two things. They have what they call the actual field set that looks like the little box, and they have what they call a legend. And the legend is the text that's at the top of the box, so people know exactly what that particular box is pertaining to. Right. So let's see here. So to do our field set, the first thing we have to do is we're going to have to use our title or our tab field set. It said, "Yay, all right." Yeah, and since I'm going to put my field set around our buttons and our options, I'm going to come down here and close it out. All right. Alright, so here it is. That's our field set. Alright, now in our field set, now we have to make the legend. And our legend is basically the information or the name or the text that we want people to see that pertains to this particular field set. So, let's spell legend. So ours could be web browsers, because I think everything in here talks about web browsers, or, well, not necessarily everything, because you do have the states thing up there too. Let's say, mm, let's say form elements. There you go. Right, and we would close our legend. I can spell legend. All right. Now, because we now have a field set and a legend in there, oh, excuse me, when we put our, open it up into Chrome or our web browser, we're able to see that nice little line and our legend of fields. I think we said fields, form elements. We said form elements right there, right around these other inputs that we have here. So I'm going to save this. Look at my side by side. There it is. That's our browser. Oh, ain't that beautiful? Yeah. So now we have our legend that's right next around there, and like it does make it look a little bit nicer. And you can, if you want to, you can use CSS to actually style your forms. So especially if you want to, if you have a particular field that is required, you can actually put those, make it a certain color. You can also put, a change the color if you want to make like have a little red stars right next to it. You can do all that stuff right there. Trying to see here. Do a quick style sheet so we can actually play with the CSS a little bit with our form. So we do style, because I'm not going to spend yet like too much time on it, because it really is the exact same way to how you actually make any other style sheet. So let's say a form, do a background color, and let's say I think this is a gray color, I believe. I used to use it all the time. Make sure I got my 5. Okay. Yeah, cause I used to use it all the time, but it's not text. I've been playing with too many languages. It's not text. Is it? You'll see in a minute. I'm messing with too many languages. Like, all right. So, just came back. This is like part 2. All right. So, I believe we started. We were doing. I was showing you how you can actually do. Use CSS to actually format your form and make it look pretty or pretty. So here, I believe we stopped at. We put a background color on it. That's where we're going to change the text. And like I don't think that's it, but we'll see in a minute. I don't think it's text. All right, so I'm gonna do save, and then I'm going to do my reload over here. All right, did I see style right? Yeah, so I'm actually starting off from yesterday. Here, let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep. Okay. making sure everything is good. To have my form tag right there, yes. Alright, and in the situation, we have to troubleshoot. So I'm gonna start commenting some stuff out so you can see exactly what's going on. Alright, let me try Z now. Okay, maybe I'm working with the wrong form. Got my style stuff right, okay. Maybe just type in gray. Okay, I'm thinking, yeah, I probably didn't have enough C's in there, I believe. Probably like this. That's probably didn't have enough C's. So right now, take my stuff out there. I'll save. Oh, come on now. Great background color, yeah. Blue, where's my blue? I knew it's not. I'm trying to think of what it is. Like I said, I've been dealing with too many. I've been dealing with too many languages over the last couple of days. Alright. So I had to look it up. I'm not gonna lie. It's color. Like, wow. I've been dealing with too many languages. Alright. Let's save. There you go. Alright. So now you have some added use. You can also add, since we have some. So the next thing I want to talk about is what they call a tab index. And a tab index is basically you assign a number to what each field, and so when a person hits the tab key, it'll actually automatically jump to that particular field. So for example, if I come here, my form. Yeah, so I'll come here to my input right here, and I put in right behind there. I put in tab index. Let's spell it right. Equals, and I have the number 1. So when I hit the tab key, I spelled that wrong. The index equals 1. Right, and I say come down here. Maybe let me do it all now. Yeah, so I'll come up here and do tab index equals, let's say 2. Alright. So when the person hits the tab key, it'll automatically go in the same direction. A lot of people actually do this for especially when they're doing with for accessibility. So the device can actually, just using the tab index order, it can actually when someone is actually filling out a form, they can actually go through it and actually from their form can actually recognize the index text tag index, tab index, and it'll actually go through and fill out each element of the form with the machine. All right. So since I put my tab in there, and I said tab 2, well, let me see. So let me go ahead and save it first. Let me see if it'll work. Alright, so let's try. There you go. There it is. Yay. So let's save right here. And I'm going to refresh. And if I hit the tab key, it's probably going to let me do it probably more than one. Oops. Wrong one. I'm hitting tab here. Yeah, see, it skipped over. I had password. Let me see. Okay, so I had. How come it skipped over? I did put it on email. No, I did put it on email, but it looks like did it? And see, it jumped past email. So you can see my cursor moving. It's skipping email. Even though I told it to. Alright. Because I told email to be 1. But it's going to the name. So when I hit tab, it actually is putting it at 1. You can also see as I'm hitting tab, you can actually see a little bit that it's actually moving toward all of the, moving through all the elements. Fine. I put it on here anyways. And name. I'll be nice to it. Alright, probably got confused. Alright. Save it. Oh, this. Okay, so now it shouldn't skip over email. There you go. Because I told it to do 1 and 2. I make email 2 and to make name 1. Now it actually didn't skip through. Alright. So like I said, that's how the tab index works. It's a really nice tool. But now, as you can see, most web browsers, when it comes to a form, and you hit tab key, it automatically goes through. It automatically, by default, goes through each. As you hit the tab key for each form element, it automatically actually goes through each not simultaneous, but one by one. All right, in the correct order. All right. The book also talks about the access key. And the access key basically, it's like a shortcut key. So it basically allows you to hit a particular key to actually go directly to that particular form element. So say for example, if I were to go to tab index, let's say on my email, I say this access key equals, and if I put in capital, I could put in capital E. I could put in capital E. So when I click on on my keyboard, when I put in the capital E, it automatically go to that particular text box. All right. So let's see if it works. So save, refresh. All right. So now I'm going to type in the capital E. So you can't even tell. So I'm typing in the capital E. What? Did I spell it right? There's access key. Capital E. But it should send the cursor right there. Now come on, Chrome. Don't play with me. So I say it's like a shortcut key. So I'm trying to, since I'm hitting the E, I'm trying to make it, the cursor when I hit E, it should go to that, my email text box. It should put the cursor in there. Oh, come on. Alright. I'm hitting Control E and see if that works. Control E. I mean, it works everything else. Okay, let's pick a access key. That's not a Windows key. Because I can't do F because F is fine. Brings up the Find tab or the Find text box. X is cut. Let's do Z. Why not Z? Alright. Oh, first of all, let me save it. That's probably what I did do before. There it is. Where's my cursor? I thought I saw it picked it up. Alright, this is on email, so if I do Control and Z. No, that's not what I want. No. Why are you being mean to me? I know I just saved it. But excuse me, all these extra characters in here. Let's see. Well, let me do Z. Okay, that's not what I wanted. Alright, there it is. Well, that's how it's supposed to work. Well, they're supposed to give you basically a shortcut key so you can access certain types of the elements. Yeah, so I'm going through my so the next thing it talks about, that the book talks about, it talks about server-side scripting, and basically, I talked about a little bit earlier how you can send the email or send the form to email, or you can have it sent through a router or to a script like we did here. So this script, this .php file or demo.php file, is on a server someplace, and so it allows you to process. Use the server to actually process information from my website. Anytime nowadays, anytime you fill out a form, it's connected to a database, and with that database, all of the scripting is connected to that database and to the website. So that's one way that they do it, and it just makes it easier to actually hold information. Now, your book talks about. I'm looking down here. Talks about some of the like sources for server side. Some of the things you can use. I'll start with some of the languages. Here at the college, we actually teach PHP as well as active server pages. A lot of really big one is Ruby on Rails. This is a really good one. There you go. Yeah. So that is. Yeah. So these are lots. So if you want to actually get into server-side scripting, I recommend it, especially if you want to do web development, because a lot of times you probably will to get a website to work, especially with the database. You will have to do some server-side scripting. And that's basically using those languages. That's how information is exchanged from the website to the server, especially when it comes to like databases and stuff. All right. I'm trying to see what else. Yes, we did email. URL, search box, data control, slider. Yeah, so let's pick the slider, yeah, and also the calendar feature. So in your book, that shows you how you can, with HTML, HTML5 especially. Like I said, they added a lot of good elements or good things you can do with HTML that you couldn't do before, especially adding more interactivity with the user, or having more interactivity with the user without having to do all this extra scripting or writing code. So, and one of the is probably the best, the thing that probably benefited the most from HTML5 is probably in terms of forms. So let's play with some of these HTML5 forms stuff here. Alright. So I'm gonna come all the way down here at the bottom. I'm gonna go ahead and get it out of my field set. Alright, so you play with the email already control. Now let's play with the actual slider. Slider control. Yeah, so the slider is basically its same old input type, input, and your type. As you can see, everything for is type. And it's going to be we're doing slider, right? Range. Yes, it'll be range. It'll be range, and you have to tell it, since you have a range, you have to tell it, okay, what range you want to have it, what range you want to have it between. So you can go between 1 and 100 for the slider. So I'm a range, and now I'm going to say the minimum. Let's set it equal. Let's equal 1. Oops. And let's say the maximum. Let's say equals 50. There you go. And we can actually also put a name in there and call the name slider. Alright, so let's see. So I'm gonna save it, and like I think I mentioned many times before, because it's an HTML5. That in certain, these elements only work in certain web browsers, and I'm using Chrome, and Chrome is one of the ones that supposedly is supposed to work in it, as well as Firefox. And in a minute, let's see if this works. Okay, yeah, there you go. That's my slider. So it goes from side to side. Alright. So when the person puts the slider someplace and they hit submit, it'll tell you exactly where that range was that they actually stopped the slider at. Now let's go back to the different web browsers. Alright, so I think I talked a couple of videos ago, I think a while, about a website called Can I Use. Right? Can I Use, like I said, it's mentioned before, it's a website that tells you what HTML5 tags and features actually work in certain web browsers. So let's go ahead and type in slider. So I'll type in slider, and it says range, input range. So even in the Explorer, they say it actually supports it. Okay, so that's good to know. HTML5 form feature, validation and stuff. So Chrome, we got Chrome, yes. If you Edge, but we can use up here at the top. We can use our input range just like we did. So that's cool. All right. Now the next one. Let's do another one, and let's do The spinner. Let's do the spinner one. Yeah. I'm gonna put a line break up here, and because we want to go back to Old Faithful here, input, and for the type for this one for our spinner, oops, we're gonna type in number. And for the spinner, we have to also type in make a maximum and a minimum. So let's say minimum, oops, make that 1, minimum equals, let's see, 100. And let's put a name on it. Let's say the name is spinner. And also let me put a line break in there too. Alright, so let's go ahead and so I'm gonna keep that up just in case somebody needs it again. Alright, so I'm going to save my form, my HTML file, and I'll go to reload, and that's my spinner right there. So there it is. It actually allows me to actually go through up and down. Alright, awesome. It'll go all the way up. That's it. Yeah, it'll go all the way up to 100. Yeah. Another one I'd like to as well is the calendar, calendar control. Now this feature actually also was awesome, because if you want to do add like a little calendar, we had to actually go through and do it through JavaScript or some other coding language or some scripting language. So I mean, this was when they saw this, I'm like, yes, because we didn't have to go through all that extra stuff anymore. All right, so to do the calendar, the input type for this one is going to be date, and let's see, the date, and I think that should be all just date equals and save. Let's hit calendar. So I can spell calendar right there. Alright. Then we can go ahead and close it out. Alright, so now when I save on here, do my reload, I should now have my calendar in there. So I can click on the drop down box and I actually get a calendar. Like I meant, this HTML5 saved hours of coding just for this actual one feature. So it's very, very good. So yeah, web developers, a lot of web developers actually like it, makes our jobs a whole lot easier. So like, yay! Today, yesterday is 29th. Yes, it is. And I can hit submit, and it'll take me, put me all through my stuff. There's my slide that was left on 26. What my spinner was on? I didn't have anything on my spinner. Alright. So there, that's my information right there. Yeah. So that's how forms work. Like I said, the basic only thing you need to know is the input and the input tag, and to actually to make all of the nice elements that they have for HTML forms as well. And the most important thing you should take from this video is the form tag itself. Remember, it is made of two parts. It is required to have two attributes in it. One is called post, which actually tells the web browser how the information is going to be transferred from the web browser or to web browser to web server, or through email. All right, and usually post, they have one called get and they have one called post, but industry standard right now is post because it's more secure. And also you have the action attribute, and this action attribute here lets you know where it's actually going to go. So we told it how it's going to be sent, but the action now tells the web browser how it's going to get there. So we told it, okay, so where it's going to go. So here we said, okay, when the person hit the submit button, I want you to take it to this location. onto this website. And when you hit the submit button, it goes to the website and executes that server script. And that's how it actually allows you to actually see the results of the information that you put in there. Yeah. No, I didn't put anything there yet. So, like I said, in order for us to get this page here, it had to, when it sent the information, when you hit the submit button, it sent the information to this server, and the coding that they have in this .php file executes and just gives us, and basically repeats the information back to us. Alright, so that is it for chapter 9 and forms. Yeah, I've had to start and stop a little bit with this video, but this, like I said, it's you'll definitely be able to use forms if you're doing a web page or website for someone. So if you have any questions, let me know. I know I'm in my office. You can catch me by email, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.